Are you tired of feeling like your mind is constantly spinning, like you're always one breath behind peace? The mind is everything. What you think, you become. These words from the Buddha aren't just wisdom, they're a lifeline. Right now, your world may feel heavy, regrets, noise, pressure. But what if you've been looking in the wrong direction all along? What if calm isn't outside you, but already waiting inside? In this video, you'll uncover 10 ancient Buddhist teachings that don't just explain peace, they unlock it. One of them could shift everything. And the final one, it's a rare insight most never hear. If you take one thing from this video, let it be this: you don't chase peace, you return to it. Number 1, you are not the river, you are the sky above it. Why do we suffer so much from passing emotions? Why do we drown in thoughts, fears, and frustrations, as if every ripple in the river of life is pulling us under? Perhaps it's because we've forgotten that we are not the river, we are the sky above it. The Buddha once said, "Clouds may gather, but the sky is untouched." This is not just a poetic idea. It's a spiritual truth that can transform how we experience stress, anxiety, and emotional chaos. Most people identify with their thoughts and feelings. A moment of anger becomes, "I am an angry person." A day of sadness becomes, "I am depressed." But Buddhist wisdom invites us to observe, not absorb. Imagine the sky, vast, open, peaceful, even as storms pass through. Now imagine your mind as that sky. Thoughts and emotions, they are just clouds. They come, they go. They do not define you. Just like the river flows beneath a still sky, your circumstances and inner weather patterns may change. But you don't have to flow with them. You can watch, you can breathe, you can remain still. This is where mindfulness becomes more than a buzzword. It becomes a tool for emotional freedom. Each morning, before your day begins, sit still for a moment. Close your eyes. Visualize a wide blue sky. Then, let each thought rise like a cloud and watch it drift away without chasing it. No judgment, no resistance, just observation. At first, it's hard. Your mind will want to pull you into the storm. But the more you watch, the more you realize. You are not your thoughts. You are the witness. Think about the last time you were overwhelmed. Was it the situation that broke you, or the story you told yourself about it? Emotional pain often isn't about what's happening. It's about our resistance to it. That's why Buddhist monks train in equanimity, the ability to remain unmoved in the face of change. Not because they don't feel, but because they know feeling isn't the enemy. Attachment to the feeling is. So pause for a moment. Ask yourself, what storm are you mistaking as your identity? What emotion have you allowed to define your worth, your potential, your peace? Because the truth is, you are the sky, not the storm. And the sky never shatters when clouds pass through. It remains open, spacious, free. This week, every time you feel overwhelmed by people, plans, pressure, just repeat this quietly in your heart. I am the sky. I watch, but I do not cling. Watch how this small shift in awareness brings calm, even when life feels like a storm. And remember, the clouds will pass. They always do. But who you are, that vast, untouchable awareness, remains, always. Do not let the behavior of others destroy your inner peace. Let that be the bold line you carry forward today, and the mindset you protect at all costs. 2. Freedom begins where control ends. Is it possible that our attempts to control life are what make us anxious? That the harder we cling, the more life slips through our fingers? Imagine holding a handful of sand. When your grip is tight, it spills out. But when your palm is open, the sand rests peacefully. Buddhist wisdom reminds us, to grasp is to suffer, to release is to be free. This teaching is not about passivity. It's about liberation from the illusion that control equals safety. Because the truth is, most of what you're trying to control was never yours to hold. Think about it. You try to control your career path, your future, how others see you, how they feel about you. You try to manage outcomes, protect yourself from disappointment, script your life like a movie. But life doesn't follow a script. It flows like a river. And trying to dam it only creates pressure and pain. Control gives the illusion of certainty, but the cost is your peace. The more you micromanage the uncontrollable, the more you exhaust yourself. Peace doesn't come from dominating life. It comes from dancing with it. In Buddhist philosophy, this grasping is called craving, the root of all suffering. When we crave certainty, praise, outcomes, or approval, we tighten our inner fists, and that tension shows up as stress, anxiety, and burnout. But freedom begins where control ends. Not when life becomes predictable, but when you stop demanding it to be. Try this. Place one hand on your chest, one on your belly. Breathe in. On the exhale, whisper to yourself, I release. Then, name one thing you're holding too tightly, an expectation, a fear, a plan. With each breath, feel your body soften, your shoulders drop, your mind quiet. That is what letting go feels like. You are not weak for surrendering. You are wise. True strength is not in holding on, but in knowing when to let go. Ask yourself honestly, what are you trying so hard to control right now? Your partner, your future, your reputation? And what would happen if, just for today, you chose to allow instead of resist? Acceptance is not giving up. It's rising above. It's saying, I will show up fully, but I will not force life to bend to my will. One man lost his job after 10 years. He panicked. He fought reality. He spiraled. But then he paused and practiced this teaching. He stopped resisting what had already happened. He leaned into uncertainty. And slowly, clarity returned. He found a new path, not by controlling the storm, but by trusting the sky. Control is seductive. It promises security, but it delivers stress. Letting go, however, that delivers peace. Not because the world changes, but because you do. Freedom begins where control ends. Let that line echo in your soul today. Release the grip, trust the flow, and discover the calm that was waiting for you beneath all that effort. 3. The quietest person has the loudest power. What if silence wasn't weakness, but strength? In a world that rewards volume, speed, and constant action, we've forgotten the quiet. But in Buddhism, silence is not emptiness, it's clarity. Still water reflects the truth, the teaching says. Imagine a still pond on a moonlit night. It reflects the sky perfectly, but stir the water and the image disappears. The same is true for your mind. When it's noisy with worry, judgment, comparison, you can't see your own truth. But in stillness, the reflection becomes clear. We've been conditioned to equate loudness with power, to speak more, do more, prove more. But some of the wisest people in history said very little. Why? Because they weren't reacting, they were listening. To the world, to their breath, to their intuition. The quietest person in the room isn't the one with nothing to say. It's the one who doesn't need to say anything to be grounded. In Buddhism, power doesn't come from control or dominance. It comes from stillness, from a mind so clear it can't be shaken by chaos. Take a moment right now. Sit back. Close your eyes for just 60 seconds. Observe every sound around you, the ticking of a clock, the hum of life in the background. And then, listen to the silence between the sounds. That gap, that stillness, is where clarity lives. And when your mind begins to chase thoughts, don't resist. Just return to listening. That's the practice. In the beginning, it feels uncomfortable. Your mind wants distraction, noise, stimulation. But when you stay with it, something shifts. You begin to hear the whispers beneath the noise, your intuition, your calm, your truth. Think about the last time you reacted emotionally to something. Did you speak too soon? Did you act from impulse rather than intention? Now, imagine if, in that moment, you had paused, breathed, sat with the silence before responding. That one act, choosing stillness, can change everything. It can save relationships, create space for healing, and guide you toward decisions rooted in wisdom, not fear. In the workplace, in conflict, even in daily stress, the power of stillness is underestimated. But the quietest minds can see the clearest path. Can you sit with stillness without needing noise? Can you be at peace without performing for the world? That's where your real power begins, not in proving, but in presence. There's a story of a monk who was asked why he never raised his voice or hurried his answers. He smiled and said, "When the pond is still, even the stars can see their reflection. Why would I stir it?" That's not weakness, that's mastery. You don't need to shout to be heard. You don't need to rush to be seen. The quietest person has the loudest power. Let that truth settle in your spirit. Walk slower, speak less, listen more, and watch how your calm presence becomes the loudest voice in any room. 4. Detach to return to wholeness. Are we losing ourselves in things we were never meant to own? We spend so much of our lives clinging to titles, relationships, success, even our pain, believing these things define who we are. But Buddhism teaches us a deeper truth. Possession is illusion, presence is truth. Imagine a tree in autumn. It doesn't resist the falling leaves. It doesn't grasp at them, fearing emptiness. It lets go, knowing that letting go is part of the cycle. In the same way, you must release what no longer serves you to return to who you truly are. We wear our identities like armor. I am a professional. I am a spouse. I am successful. But what happens when those roles shift? When the job ends, the relationship changes, or the world no longer sees you the way you've seen yourself? If your peace is attached to the role, your peace disappears with it. But if your peace is anchored in presence, nothing can shake you. You are not your resume. You are not your social media profile. You are not even your past. You are the awareness beneath it all. And that is untouchable. Try this practice right now. Think of 3 roles or labels you're clinging to. Maybe it's the achiever, the provider, or the always strong one. Now gently tell yourself, I am not this role. I am something deeper. Close your eyes and visualize yourself releasing each one, like autumn leaves falling from your hands. What remains is not emptiness, it is truth. Because the real you doesn't need a name, it simply is. There's a story of a man who spent his entire life chasing success. He built an empire, gained respect, and wore his title like a crown. But when illness struck, he could no longer lead. Stripped of his power, he fell into despair. Until one day, sitting in silence, he realized he had never known himself apart from his roles. And in that terrifying emptiness, something beautiful emerged. Peace. Not because he reclaimed his titles, but because he finally met himself without them. What identities have become cages in your life? The perfectionist, the savior, the person who never asks for help? And what would it feel like to detach, not as an escape, but as a return to wholeness? Detachment is not rejection. It's the art of being complete without needing. It's walking through life open-handed, allowing things to come and go without losing your center. It's knowing that your worth doesn't increase when you win or decrease when you fall. You are not the roles you play. You are the one who plays them. Detach to return to wholeness. Let go, not to lose yourself, but to find the part of you that was never missing, only hidden beneath all you thought you had to be. In that space, your calm returns, your clarity awakens, and you remember you were whole all along. 5. Suffering is a whisper asking to be heard. What if pain isn't punishment but a teacher? We spend so much of life running from our suffering, distracting ourselves, numbing ourselves, pretending everything's fine. But Buddhism offers a radical shift. What we resist repeats. What we listen to transforms. Suffering is not the enemy. It's a whisper from within, a quiet cry asking to be heard, not silenced. And if we listen, truly listen, it can guide us back to peace. Imagine a knot in a rope. The more you pull away from it, the tighter it becomes. The only way to loosen it is to lean in, gently, patiently. The same is true with emotional pain. The moment you stop resisting, the healing begins. But this takes courage. It takes a willingness to sit beside your discomfort without trying to solve it. Most people aren't taught this. We're told to stay strong, move on, think positive. But Buddhist wisdom invites a deeper practice, to be fully present with what hurts, because within that pain is a message, something sacred asking for your attention. Try this now. Think of one emotion you've been avoiding: fear, sadness, anger, shame. Breathe in. Now, instead of pushing it away, bring gentle awareness to it. Where do you feel it in your body? What does it want to say? Maybe it's grief saying, "Please stop pretending I'm gone." Maybe it's fear whispering, "I only want you to be safe." These emotions aren't against you. They're fragments of you waiting to be seen. There's a story of a young monk who was terrified of meditating in the dark. One evening, his teacher locked him in the meditation hall and blew out the candle. Alone and shaking, the monk was forced to sit with his fear. Hours passed, and something surprising happened. The fear didn't grow. It softened. When morning came, the monk said, "Darkness was never the enemy. My refusal to face it was." That moment changed him. He didn't just conquer fear, he befriended it. What emotion are you running from? And what might change if, instead of running, you simply sat beside it? Not to fix it, not to force it away, but just to say, "I see you. You're allowed here." That simple act of acknowledgement can begin to untie years of inner knots. Pain doesn't need to be solved. It needs to be honored. This isn't weakness. This is mastery. It's easier to distract yourself than to feel. But it's in the feeling that the healing lives. Suffering is a whisper asking to be heard. Let today be the day you stop running and start listening. Because when you sit with your pain, you don't just find peace, you find yourself. In that brave silence, your mind calms, your heart opens, and the suffering begins to dissolve into wisdom. 6. Comparison is the enemy of inner peace. Why does everyone else's life seem so perfect and yours doesn't? You scroll through photos, see achievements, milestones, smiles, and somewhere deep inside, you begin to shrink. Doubt whispers, "You're behind." Anxiety hisses, "You should be more." But here's the truth, hidden in ancient Buddhist wisdom. To compare is to forget who you are. You were never meant to be someone else. You were meant to be whole as you are. Comparison is the thief of inner peace, yet we invite it in every single day. We compare careers, bodies, relationships, timelines, as if life were a race with only one finish line. But look at nature. A lotus doesn't compete with the lily. It doesn't panic that the bamboo is taller or the rose more colorful. It simply blooms, rooted in its own rhythm. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. Your journey is not supposed to look like theirs. The more you try to match someone else's path, the more you lose your own. Imagine your life as a river, winding, unpredictable, beautifully yours. No river flows straight. Some cut through mountains, others move slowly through forests, but all of them reach their ocean. Visualize that now, your own river. Can you let it flow without constantly comparing its speed, depth, or clarity to others? Because the truth is, you don't need to be ahead, you just need to be here. There's a story of a student who asked his Zen master, "When will I become enlightened like you?" The master smiled and pointed at two trees outside. One tall, full of leaves, the other short, barely budding. "They grow at different paces," he said, "but both are perfect." The lesson was simple. Growth is not a competition, it's a becoming. And peace arrives when you embrace your own becoming. Ask yourself honestly, whose life are you secretly trying to copy? The influencer on your feed, an older sibling, a friend who seems to have it all figured out? And in chasing their version of success, what sacred parts of yourself have you abandoned? The world doesn't need another replica. It needs your presence, fully expressed, unfiltered, and awake. Try this today. Close your eyes, take a breath, and silently say, "My path is sacred, my time is right, I release the need to compare." Do this each morning. Build a quiet devotion to your own unfolding. It's in that acceptance that true calm arises. The pressure fades, the peace deepens. You begin to live from within, not in reaction to the noise outside. Comparison is the enemy of inner peace. And peace is not found in someone else's life. It's found when you stop chasing and start being exactly where you are. You are not late. You are not lacking. You are life unfolding, perfectly timed, just like the lotus. You don't need to compete. You only need to bloom. 7. Let go of the rope. You're tugging with the universe. What if surrender isn't giving up, but tuning in? We spend so much of our lives pulling for success, for recognition, for answers, for certainty. We grip harder, think more, hustle louder, but the tighter we pull, the more resistance we feel. Life becomes a constant tug-of-war with the universe. And here's the truth hidden beneath the noise. The more you fight, the less you hear. The universe doesn't yell, it whispers, and you only hear it when you stop pulling long enough to listen. Imagine this. You're in a silent battle. One end of the rope in your hands, the other pulled by something bigger. Fate, timing, life itself. Every tug is a demand. Why isn't it happening yet? Why did they leave? Why can't I fix this? But have you ever noticed? The harder you pull, the more tangled everything becomes. It's like trying to calm water by splashing at it. The stillness only comes when you let go. Buddhism teaches us that surrender isn't weakness, it's wisdom. To surrender doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop forcing. It means you align instead of resist. Just like a tree doesn't fight the wind, it bends, and in that bending, it survives the storm. The suffering we feel often isn't from the situation itself. It's from the inner war we wage trying to control it. Drop the rope. That's when peace begins. Take a moment now. Breathe in and feel the tension in your body, the need to solve, to fix, to push. Then breathe out and feel what it's like to release. With each breath out, silently whisper, "I let go." Feel how your energy shifts when you stop wrestling with life and start flowing with it. This isn't passivity, it's power redirected. Power rooted in acceptance. Ask yourself, what inner battles are exhausting you right now? The desire to be further ahead in your career, the constant comparison that drains your joy, the unresolved pain from the past you keep trying to rewrite. Now ask, what would happen if I stopped tugging today? Not forever, just today. Could you live one day without demanding things be different, without chasing, fixing, or forcing? There's a quiet kind of strength that comes from surrender. It's not the kind that makes headlines, but it changes lives. It says, "I trust that what is meant for me will find me." It believes that peace is not in controlling every moment, but in meeting each moment with presence. Let go of the rope you're tugging with the universe. Let go not because you're giving up, but because you're finally ready to receive. Life has its own rhythm. You don't have to dance faster. You just have to hear the music. And sometimes the loudest truth emerges not when we pull harder, but when we let go and simply breathe. 8. Be empty to be full. Why do we keep accumulating more and still feel less? We chase knowledge, achievements, even spiritual goals, hoping that if we just gather enough, we'll finally feel whole. But the paradox is this: a full cup cannot receive. When we are too full, of opinions, of noise, of past stories, nothing new can enter. We become weighed down by what we carry, mistaking heaviness for wisdom. But Buddhism teaches us something radical. To be truly wise, you must first be empty. Empty of clutter, empty of attachment, empty of the noise that fills your mind with constant doing, comparing, fixing. Think of a bamboo shoot. It grows tall, strong, and flexible, but its strength lies in its hollowness. Its openness is not a flaw, it is its gift. Because it's empty inside, wind passes through it instead of breaking it. Rain nourishes it instead of flooding it. It bends, but it does not break. In the same way, your mind, when emptied of resistance, ego, and obsession, becomes a vessel for clarity, peace, and presence. But we rarely pause long enough to notice how full we are. Full of worries about tomorrow, full of anger from yesterday, full of mental to-do lists, expectations, comparisons, regrets. It's like trying to hear a whisper in a room full of shouting. The wisdom you seek is already here, but it cannot get in until you clear space for it. You must become still enough to receive what you've been running around searching for. Try this. Sit quietly for a moment and simply observe the space between your thoughts. Don't chase them. Don't judge them. Just let them pass like clouds through a wide, open sky. Notice the silence beneath the noise, the gap between the inhale and the exhale. That space is not empty. It's alive. It's where peace hides. And from that space, insight rises naturally. Ask yourself today, what mental clutter have I been carrying that no longer serves me? What emotional weight am I mistaking for identity? Maybe it's a belief that you always need to be doing more. Maybe it's a fear that if you stop striving, you'll fall behind. Maybe it's just noise. 100 old voices in your head telling you who you should be. Breathe it out. Let it go. Make room. Because in Buddhism, emptiness is not lack, it is readiness. To be empty is to be available. Available for wisdom, for connection, for the truth of this moment. Not your projections, not your judgments, just this. And in that space, you rediscover something you forgot in all the noise. you are already enough. So don't fear the emptiness. Be empty to be full. Let the thoughts settle. Let the noise fade. And from that silence, watch your mind begin to bloom. Not from what it holds, but from what it lets go. 9. Pain is inevitable. Reaction is optional. Pain visits everyone. No one escapes it. Not the wise, not the wealthy, not even the awakened. The mistake we make is thinking that pain means something is wrong with us. That if we were more enlightened, more disciplined, more successful, we wouldn't feel it. But Buddhism whispers something different. Pain is inevitable, but reaction is optional. What destroys us isn't the storm. It's the way we thrash against it. What wounds us over and over isn't the pain itself, but the stories we wrap around it. We say, "This shouldn't be happening," and we tighten. We say, "Why me?" and we drown. You can't stop the wave, but you can learn to surf. You can learn to meet discomfort without handing it your power. Picture this. You're standing in the ocean, and a wave rises. You can stiffen, brace, try to resist. Or you can rise with it, soften your stance, and move with grace instead of against. The first leads to exhaustion, the second to mastery. And this isn't just philosophy. It's something you practice in real time, especially when life squeezes you hardest. That moment when someone disrespects you. That moment when your plans fall apart. That moment when fear rises and your chest tightens. That's your dojo. That's your training ground. In that single, precious pause, the one where you normally lash out, shut down, or spiral, you have a choice. Pause. Take 5 breaths, just 5. Let each inhale remind you that you are not the emotion. Let each exhale be a letting go. This small gap between stimulus and reaction, that's where your freedom lives. Buddhist masters say a single moment of awareness can save a lifetime of regret. Why? Because awareness breaks the cycle. It unhooks you from the chains of conditioned reaction. The knee-jerk anger, the self-sabotage, the blame. It lets you see clearly. Oh, I'm hurting, but I don't have to make others hurt. I'm afraid, but I don't have to act from fear. This is hard, but it doesn't have to harden me. Ask yourself, when do I lose myself most? What patterns keep dragging me under? And more importantly, what would it look like to choose peace instead of reaction, even once? This isn't about becoming emotionless. It's about becoming unshakable. You still feel deeply. But instead of being a puppet to your emotions, you become the witness. You become the surfer, not the wave. So the next time life punches you in the gut, breathe. Don't react, don't justify, don't explain, just observe. Then choose your response like a conscious artist, not a conditioned machine. Because your power doesn't come from controlling life. It comes from mastering your inner climate, from remembering pain is the visitor, not the owner. Let it pass, let it teach, but don't let it define you. 10. Let silence speak before you do. Every word you speak carries weight. It can build bridges or break them. It can soothe wounds or deepen scars. What if I told you that silence often speaks louder than any word? That before you fill the space with sound, the quiet can hold the wisdom you need. Let silence speak before you do, the Buddhists teach us. They remind us that speech reveals what's inside, either the storm or the stillness. Think of words as arrows. Once released, they cannot be called back. They fly straight and true, hitting targets you may never see. How often have we rushed to speak, only to regret the damage later? We react in haste, fueled by frustration, fear, or impatience, not realizing that the silence before the word is a precious gift. It's the pause where you choose, will this word heal or harm? Will it bring peace or pain? Imagine a quiet lake at dawn, its surface so still it mirrors the sky perfectly. That stillness is powerful. It reflects the truth. Our words should aim to do the same, to reflect clarity and kindness. Before you speak, take a moment to ask yourself 3 simple questions. Is it kind? Is it true? Is it necessary? If it fails any one of these tests, it might be better left unsaid. There is a kind of strength in choosing silence. The world often pushes us to fill every pause, to prove ourselves through constant chatter. But silence is not weakness. It's not emptiness. It's presence. It's listening deeply, responding thoughtfully. When you allow silence to breathe, you invite understanding to enter. You create space for calm, even in the middle of chaos. What if you practiced this today? The next time you feel the impulse to respond quickly, pause. Let the silence speak. Feel how it softens your mind, slows your heart, and clears your thoughts. Then speak, if you must, with intention. Speak in a way that soothes, that builds, that connects. Ask yourself, are my words healing or harming? Am I rushing to be heard, or am I choosing to be understood? Can silence sometimes say more than I ever could? This practice isn't about perfect speech. It's about conscious communication. It's about transforming your inner storm into a quiet, steady presence that guides your words with wisdom. In a world filled with noise, your silence can be your power. It can calm your mind, anchor your spirit, and remind you and others that sometimes the deepest truths don't need to be shouted. They just need to be felt. So before you speak, let silence speak first. 11. You are the flame, not the flickering shadow. Have you ever felt lost beneath the weight of expectations, fears, and the countless roles you play? It's easy to forget who we truly are when life becomes a blur of reactions and responsibilities. But deep within you burns a flame, steady, unwavering, and radiant. You are not the flickering shadow cast by your doubts, or the reflection on the wall shaped by others' opinions. You are the flame itself, the source of light and warmth. The sun doesn't beg the moon to shine, the Buddha teaches us, reminding us that our true self shines without seeking approval or validation. Imagine the candle in a dark room, its flame small but powerful, effortlessly illuminating all that surrounds it. That flame is your essence, the quiet core beneath all that noise and confusion. While shadows dance and flicker, reacting to every passing breeze, the flame remains calm, centered, and alive. When you realize this, you stop identifying with the fleeting fears and start connecting to the steady light within. Take a moment to visualize this flame in your chest. Feel its warmth, its glow. With each breath, imagine it growing brighter, spreading through your body, filling you with calm and clarity. This practice is not about forcing anything to change, but remembering what has always been true. Your light is constant, even when the world feels uncertain. Your flame is a beacon you can return to whenever you feel overwhelmed or lost. Who are you beneath the fears that cloud your mind? Who do you become when you release the need to perform, to control, or to hide? This flame is your answer, the self beyond all stories and labels. It's the still point in the storm, the source of peace that no external circumstance can extinguish. Think about how often you let shadows, anxieties, doubts, comparisons, dim your inner light. What would happen if you stopped identifying with those shadows? What if you let your flame lead the way, no matter what life throws at you? This shift doesn't come from outside, but from turning your attention inward, recognizing the power you already hold. Remember, the flame doesn't struggle to shine. It simply is. And so are you. The path to calmness, self-mastery, and resilience begins when you stop chasing illusions and start living as the light that you are. Each time life feels overwhelming, come back to this flame. Let it remind you that you are more than your fears and more than your roles. You are the radiant source of your own peace. Can you remember your light? Can you feel the steady warmth inside you now, waiting to guide you? This flame is your true self, always there, always shining, inviting you to live from a place of calm, clarity, and unshakable presence. Bonus lesson. Peace is what's left when you let everything else go. What if you could let go of every burden, every expectation, every need to prove yourself, and find peace waiting quietly beneath it all? So often, we chase after success, validation, or control, believing these will bring calm. But what if peace isn't something to be earned or found outside, but something already inside you, just waiting to be uncovered? Imagine a mirror covered in dust. The surface is clouded, but beneath it, your true reflection remains untouched, clear, and serene. That's where your peace lives, beneath the noise and clutter of life's demands. It's not hidden forever, it's simply waiting for you to wipe away the layers. In the rush of life, with all its pressures and transitions, you might feel like you have so much left to prove, so much to fix, so many roles to play. But ask yourself, if all those expectations disappeared right now, if nothing needed to change or be achieved, who would you be? Could you just be? This is not about giving up or surrendering ambition, but about returning to a place within you that is steady and whole, no matter what happens outside. With every exhale, try this simple practice. Mentally say, I return to peace. Let it be a gentle anchor in moments of overwhelm, a reminder that you don't have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. Peace isn't something far away or reserved for the future. It is the quiet space left when you let everything else go. And it's accessible in this very moment, beneath your fears, your plans, and your doubts. What if you didn't have to change your circumstances to feel calm? What if peace wasn't a reward for success, but your natural state waiting patiently for you to remember it? This perspective shifts the struggle. Instead of fighting to fix life, you begin uncovering the stillness that has always been there, like a steady flame behind flickering shadows. Many who wrestle with stress, emotional challenges, or identity shifts feel like peace is a distant dream. But the Buddhist wisdom here invites you to pause and see. Peace is what remains when all the layers of striving, controlling, and resisting fall away. It is not something new to acquire, but an old truth to rediscover. This truth empowers you to face life's storms without losing yourself, because your peace is not dependent on circumstances, it is your foundation. So, the next time you feel overwhelmed, take a breath and softly remind yourself, I return to peace. Let this be your refuge and your power. Notice how the dust begins to settle, how your mind clears, and how calm can arise even in chaos. What if peace is not at the end of your journey, but the very essence you carry with you every step? Could you live from that place today, right now? When you let go of everything else, what is left is you, whole, calm, and peaceful. Quick summary of the principles. You are not the river. You are the sky above it. You are not your emotions or thoughts. They are passing events, not permanent truths. The moment you realize this, you gain power over your reactions. Inner calm is possible When you stop identifying with mental storms, awareness is your true nature. Freedom begins where control ends. Trying to control everything leads to stress, not security. Surrender doesn't mean weakness, it means trust. When you allow life to unfold without gripping tightly, peace arises naturally. Acceptance is the gateway to freedom. The quietest person has the loudest power. Silence holds a strength that noise cannot. When you stop reacting to the world loses control over you. True power is internal, still, calm, and steady. Choose presence over performance. Detach to return to wholeness. You don't need to hold on to identities, roles, or possessions to feel complete. Clinging creates suffering. Detachment reveals peace. The more you let go, the more you return to your true self. Wholeness is your natural state. Suffering is a whisper. Asking to be heard, pain is not your enemy, it's a messenger. Instead of resisting discomfort, sit with it, understand it. Healing begins with acceptance. Listen deeply, and transformation follows. Comparison is the enemy of inner peace. Looking at others' lives steals joy from your own. You are on a unique path that doesn't need validation through comparison. True peace arises when you honor your journey. Comparison blinds. Presence liberates. Let go of the rope. You're tugging with the universe. Life becomes a struggle when you resist what is. Surrender isn't defeat, it's alignment. Letting go allows life to flow through you. The less you force, the more things fall into place. Be empty to be full. A cluttered mind cannot receive wisdom or peace. Emptiness is not loneliness, it's spaciousness. When you create inner space, clarity and calm naturally arise. Peace is the absence of excess. Pain is inevitable, reaction is optional. Suffering doesn't come from the event, it comes from our reaction to it. You can choose peace over impulse. Mastering the pause between stimulus and response is the key to freedom. Let silence speak before you do. Words carry power, choose them wisely. Often, silence says more than speech. Reflect before reacting. Mindful speech leads to harmonious relationships and inner calm. You are the flame, not the flickering shadow. You are not the labels others place on you or the fears you carry. Your essence is powerful, radiant, and unwavering. Remembering this truth brings confidence and serenity. You are more than your circumstances. Peace is what's left. When you let everything else go, peace isn't found in things. It's uncovered by removing what blocks it. You don't need to add peace, you need to uncover it. Letting go reveals the quiet you've been seeking all along. Sometimes we chase peace as if it's a distant reward hidden behind achievement or approval. But peace is never far. It's not something you earn, it's something you uncover. Beneath the weight of worry, identity, and control lies the stillness you've been searching for all along. Each of these Buddhist teachings is a doorway, not to escape life, but to experience it differently. When you stop clinging, comparing, reacting, and performing, you start remembering. You return to the version of you that's calm, aware, and powerful. Not because you're in control, but because you're finally in tune. Peace does not mean to be in a place where there is no noise or trouble. It means to be in the midst of it all, and still remain calm in your heart. Let today be the moment you stop searching and start remembering. Try one teaching, reflect on it, live it, and see what shifts within. Which teaching spoke to the deepest part of you, and how will you live it today? If this video brought even a moment of peace to your heart, like and share it with someone who needs it. Comment your reflections below. We read every word. And don't forget to subscribe to Deep Wisdom for more inspiring Buddhist insights on living a calm and powerful life.